let me. mm, okay. So, we are starting with conditional statements today. So, basically, when we talk about conditional statements, from the word conditional, that means it's based on condition. And as a front-end engineer, we make use of this a whole lot in development. I mean, like you practically use this on a daily basis. By the time when you get to when you are writing code as a front-end engineer. So we'll be talking about the condition statement, the different types, I mean, how to make use of it. So a conditional statement is a set of commands that executes if a specified condition is true. JavaScript supports two conditional statements, if else and then switch. I was talking about two types of conditional statements. So we'll be talking about the if else and then the switch. So I believe uh, it's something, let's try to like apply it to our day-to-day life. So let me say, in case in case this does not happen, I want to go for option B. So sometimes we always say, okay, let's have option plan A and then plan B. In case plan A did not work, switch to plan B, right? So we'll be talking about the if else. All right. But before we get to more details about the if else conditional statement, I would like us to do a recap about template literals because we'll be making use of it a whole lot in this development. We'll be making use of it a whole lot. Okay. So when we talk about template literals, it's basically like trying to write text together with JavaScript variables. So it's a feature of ES6. I think prior to ES6, template literals is not something applicable, but it's a feature in ES6 that makes us to be able to add string together with JavaScript variables. So let me try to give an instance. So let me say let's color be equals to, so I'm defining a variable color and I'm calling it let's say blue, right? So then I want to log this color. Then there's difference between this backtick. So backtick, it's what we use in templates literals, backtick. So it's different from string. So in order for us to be able to write string together with JavaScript variables, we are going to make use of template literals. So we can say something like the sky is. So in order for us to be able to add this variable color together with our string, we need to make use of, we've started with template literals already. Then we can make use of our dollar sign and then add our color. Okay, and then add our color. So this gives us the opportunity to be able to add a variable of color into this text. So the sky is blue. So it's not something that you can do this. The compiler is not going to pick the variable color that you define. So it's just going to pick, it will understand it as a string. But in order for you to display the variable that you define, which is color, in your template, in your together with your string, you can just do this, and then the sky is blue. All right. So that's just a bit of recap because we'll be making use of template literals a whole lot in the course of today's teaching. All right. So we are talking about conditional statements. So we talk about, there are two types: if else and then the switch. All right. So use if to specify a block of code to be executed. If a specified condition is true, so We use else to specify a block of code to be executed if the same condition is false. Okay. Then there's another, we also have else if to specify a condition, a new condition to test if the false condition is false. And then the other one, which is switch. So this is what we are trying to say. We have if, then we have if else, and then the second type. So we have if, this one type of conditional statement, and then the second type of conditional statement is the switch, yeah. So let's start with if, the if conditional statement. All right. So we want to say, we write an if and then we pass a condition, and then the expression that we are going to execute the expression that we have. So let's say, for instance, let's define a variable called let's age be equals to, let me say, 12, right? So we want to say if age is greater than, so let's say something like if age is greater than 5, we can say the guy should be probably in secondary school. The students. Okay, so let's just template literals based on what we talk about. So we can say age. So we use the template literal. Then we'll pass age 12 should be in secondary school, right? Then we can say else. We can say console.log, right? Then we can say age, we can say else this person should be in primary school. This age group or age brackets should belong to primary school. Okay. All right. So let me clear this guy so we can do this again. So what we're trying to say is if, so we are working with conditional statement now based on the explanation that we're talking about. If age is greater than 5, the age bracket should belong to secondary school, else the age bracket should belong to primary school. So we define a variable called age, and then we assign a value of 12 to it. So we say that if age is greater than 5, so definitely our age is greater than 5. Even if we change age to be something like 7, it should still fall. We should still have the age, yeah, the age 7 should be in secondary school. So that's talking about if statement. All right, so let's move forward from there. Then this talking about else. So we've talked about if else. So this is giving an example. If W is less than Y, blah blah blah, condition.log, W is less than Y, else W is greater than Y. So let's just define two variables. So let's define another variable. Let's say if age is equal to 7, then let's say if number. So let's say number is something like 12, or let's say 20. Yeah. So we can say if age is greater than if age is greater than number, fulfill this expression, else fulfill this expression. Okay, now let's try to look at this. If 7 is greater than number, so this is a false statement, right? Okay, let me try to save this again. Okay, seems there's a question. Is somebody raising up their hand?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Fine. The second console is not written properly. You just wrote console.
All right. Thanks for that. Okay, yeah. So thanks for that. So this fulfills the expression because the fact is age uh age 7 is not greater than number. So that means this condition which we've written here is false. That pushes to the option B. If option A does not work, go for option B, which is else console.log. This age bracket should belong to primary school. So yeah, we are just trying to play around condition and then expression in order for us to be able to understand that, okay, in case this does not happen, go for the next option. I hope we understand this. Yeah. Okay, so I'll move on from here. So talking about else if, so it's another kind of conditional statement. So if we have first condition, if condition first condition fail, is going to check the second condition. If second condition also fail, then it's going to go for the default condition, which is else. So let's try to work around this. Okay. Yeah. So what we are saying here is if condition 1 fail. Okay, so let's try to do some definition of variables. So let's say let A is equals to 2, and then let B is equals to 3, and then let's C be equals to 5. Yeah. So if you say if A is greater than B, then we can console.log. Then we can say, let's use template literals, and then let's do this. A is greater than B. Okay, so let's put another condition in this if in this second condition. Else if B, okay, if B is greater than C. Okay, before we get to that, let's just say if B is greater than A. Okay, so let me just copy this and then put it here. So we think this B is greater than A. All right, else we can just say console the log with no valid number. Okay, so let's see what we have. So we say that if A is greater than B, so let's check A. Is A greater than B? That's false. That means we should not see A 2 is greater than 3 in the expression. Then let's check for the next one. Else, if B is greater than A, what is B? 3. Is B greater than 2? That's correct. Then we should have 3 is greater than 2 in our expression. So the fact that we've been able to find a truthy value in one of these conditions, it's not going to go for the default expression. I don't know if we understand that. Is there any question to this if, else, if condition statements before we move on to the next one? Any question from anyone? Okay. So in case of no question, so let's move on to the next. So we'll move on to the next condition, which is switch statement. Guys, please give me some seconds. Guys, let's continue from where we stopped. Okay. Um, yeah. So we talk about the switch statement. Yeah. So let's talk about the switch statement. So basically, working with the switch statements, we make use of expression. We pass in the expression here, define a particular variable, and then we have different case. Yeah. So and then we have a break. We'll be talking about break, and as well we'll be talking about continue as well. How does compiler make use of this break? How does compiler make use of continue? We'll be talking about it. So let me try to pick this guy and let's see what we have. Guys, any question around this if else before we move on? Any question? Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, my question is with the console results.
Yeah.
Normally, 2 is not greater than 3. Does it mean that it's not like it's not in a real world that 2 is greater than 3, but because it's we are consoling the result, that's why we're having the result there to be 2 is greater than 3, right?
Oh, you mean this first one, yeah?
Yes. I'm saying
Oh,
2 is greater than 3. Does it mean that because that is not true in a real world? Does
okay.
it mean that that is happening because we have inside the console we are having the literal is greater than that is a literal is greater than I don't know if you understand.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. So this is definitely a mistake. You know, like when I first started like writing the condition for this else if, I put B greater than A, and this particular expression was still here before I updated it. So before I updated it, the console has already picked this. That's why we have this thing. I don't know if you understand that.
All right. Thank you.
So this is not meant to be there. So the compiler picked up the updates fast ahead before I could update the expression that was here. So that's why we are having this. But let me clear this. So let me try to run this again. Mm. So I guess the guy is not seeing any changes. Okay, yeah. So if we try to see what we have here, So you can say that is A greater than B? That's false. So that means the guy is not entering here. A is 2. So else, if B is greater than A, 3 is greater than 2. That's correct, right? Then we have 3 is greater than 2. So that's why the compiler went for this second.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. I think I understand now. Thank you.
perfect, perfect. Okay, is there any other question from anyone in the class? Before we move on to the switch conditional statements. Before we move on to switch conditional statement. Hi Obami, how are you doing today? Okay, so I think I didn't check up on us when we started the class. I just want to hear everybody's voice. So in case you can talk, just say hello. Hi Obami, how are you doing? Okay. Uh,
I'm good, thank you.
yes, happy Sunday to you. Happy first Sunday.
Wish you the same.
Yeah. Hi Binta, how are you?
So, yeah, I'm good now. I'm better. 2 weeks ago, I've been quite ill, but now I think I'm better. But I've not been able to catch up. So maybe you can just go on with others, and I'll just follow up.
All right, all right. I think you should even be able to catch up. So we are still talking about the basics of JavaScript.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can follow through today's class. And in case you want to catch up on the other class, you can just check the YouTube link for,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's good to have you back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hi, Binta. How you doing today? Happy first Sunday.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I'm very well. Thank you.
Yes. And how was service today?
Very well, sir. Thank you.
And how is JavaScript scripting?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the concepts. I'm
All
trying my
right.
best. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Just try to follow through with the class gradually. Try to understand the basics. The basics is the essential. Try to understand the basics. All right, cool. Dave, happy for Sunday.
Same to you.
And how are you doing today?
Was a wonder.
Awesome. And how is JavaScript scripting? Hope it's scripting very well for you. Okay. All right. So let's just continue. So we are moving on to switch statement, guys. We are moving on to switch statement. So someone might want to ask that what's the difference between uh, the switch and then the if else statement. So we talk about that later. We talk about that later. Okay, so let me try to paste this guy into. Okay, so let me just say this if else conditional statement. Then the next thing we are working with is switch conditional statements. All right, guys. Okay. So when we are working with switch, okay, so let's expression. Okay. So when we are working with switch, so basically how do we work with switch? Uh we make use of switch is like a reserved word in JavaScript. It's a reserved word. Okay, guys. So we are going to define our expression, pass our find a particular variable, pass the variable, and then we have different case that we are going to work with. So let's move on with a slide. Let's go to okay. So let me pick this guy. Okay. So we define a variable called color and we call it green. Yeah. So we are making use of a switch. We pass in a variable into the switch, and then we have different case scenario. So the particular case in which the color is equivalent to the case is going to validate that particular expression. So let's say okay, so say if case is green here, console.log green, then break. The next one is if case is yellow. Let us know that this guy is yellow. Else. Okay, yes. So we are working with conditional statement. So I'm trying to lift the code and paste it. So because I know we have limited time and we are going as far as to DOM manipulation. I don't know if we'll be able to reach that point, but let's just see how far we can go. So we are talking about switch conditional statement, guys. We've been able to, we are all aligned on if else conditional statement. So we are talking about a switch conditional statement. So we say that in order for us to make use of switch, you have to define a particular variable. So that's what we are doing here. We do a const color. We say color is green. Then we have a switch. And we've established the fact that switch is a reserved word in JavaScript. So you pass in your variable here, and then we have different case. We pass in the expression. In this case, we are making use of console. By the time when you are writing more code, your expression could be something else. It could be maybe perform a particular logic, perform a particular algorithm, whatever you want to put, it's all good. So if color is green, if the case understand that, okay, the color is red, it's going to tell us that this color is red. Here, the case here is the color is, the case for this guy is green. So by the time when the compiler run this, it understands that, okay, it tries to compare the value of color together with the value that we have here. So we have green, green. Then the compiler is going to understand that, oh, these two condition is true. Then it's going to log, this is a tricky case. Then it's going to fulfill this expression, which is this color is green. So then break. So at this point, once it break, it's going to end the operation process due to the fact that it has been able to notice that, okay, there's a truth value already, so there's no need of continuing the operation. So let's say, for instance, this a variable color, we change it to yellow. So this guy will continue to check different condition. It will start with red. No, yellow is not the same thing. This value of red is not the same thing as yellow. So it's going to continue. It's going to check the next condition, which is green. It's going to check, is this color, is it equals to this value, which is false. It's going to move on. The next case is yellow. Is the value of color equals to this value that we have here, which is true? That means then it's going to break. It's not going to continue to the next condition. Either way, the next condition is the default, which is the color is not available. So it's going to give us here the color is yellow, which we have here. The color is yellow. Let's change this value. Let's say let's use something like black. So it's going to go to this default expression, which is the color is not available. But that's the fact that it has checked all these guys. Black is not equals to red, black is not equals to green, black is not equals to yellow. So it's the compiler will just tell us that, see guys, I can't find what you guys are looking for. Let's just default it to the default condition, which is the color is not available. So in case we can just say, let's add this guy and let's call it, let's pass the value of black and let's see what happens. Okay, so sorry, let me change this value. Okay, the color is black. All right, so that's how switch condition basically work. So we've been able to talk about if else statements. We've been able to talk about switch conditional statement. Yeah. So that's it for switch conditional statement. Any question from anyone? Any question before we move on? Binta, any question from you?
Yes, sir. I wanted
Okay.
to know why we are using switch statements when we have if, else if, and the other one. I don't know. It's like they are the same thing. I don't know why we are using switch statements.
Okay. All right. Cool. So we mostly make use of the if and if else condition in case, let's say you have few conditions to compare. Maybe you have like two items, like if A is greater than B, make use of this expression. Else, just use this. Then let's say at most three conditions. But by the time when you're having more than three conditions, you're having like 4, 5 conditions, it's best to go for switch condition just to ensure that your code is very clean. Okay, let me give you an instance. So an instance is, let me console log out this guy. So let me okay, so let me console this. So let's say you are trying to compare several options, and then you have if B is greater than C. Let me change this to C. Then you want to do another one, else if C is greater than D. You want to do it up to Z. Right? You want to do all this comparing up to Z. Let me update this guy. Else C is greater than D. Then you can do else console log. Okay. All right. So let's say I'm just trying to give an illustration. Let's say you are trying to compare the different alphabets A, B, C, D, probably it's for like 10 values. By the time when you send your code for code review, send your code for a senior engineer and review your code for you. And if your other colleagues should see this, they will definitely flag it for you that this cannot fly. So we make use of else if in the case where you are doing 2 or 3 comparison. But when you have more items to compare, then you have to make use of your switch, which is much more professional. I don't know, do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, cool. Any other question from anyone?
Yes, sir. I still have a question. So
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
said that it's only when we have we want to meet different conditions. Now, in the case of where we are using if else if, now how do we use switch conditional statements? Like when we want to say C is greater than D, how do we bring it to this particular thing? Because this one we're just having one constant color, and then we are trying to bring cases that, okay, let me assume that we are not having color, we're having like a, just the same way we have the first one up there, you're having A is equal to 3. How do you now bring in B? Like you try to make B, compare B and A together.
Okay. Yeah. So it's still the same thing that you have to do. So let's just do a practical example. So in best case, you can do your let me try to pick so let's try to pick just two values. So let's say cons A is equal to 2, and then cons B is equals to 3. So you can have the case of A and B, and then you can try to pass this switch. I mean, you can pass, let's say your value is A. Sorry, your value is A. And then you can have different cases here. Let's say B, let's say we have value of 2. Let's say we have value of 3. Let's say we have value of 4. 5. The sorry, hold on. The number is 2. Okay. So you can have as much condition.
I also want to compare if it's greater
Okay.
or less than.
Okay, you want to compare if the number is
Yes, if it's greater or less than A, then you should console the number is greater or less than. Just the same way we have it up there. Like, how are we going to pass in the condition when we have less than or greater than or equal to?
okay. I now understand what you're trying to do. So in most cases of this comparison, I think it's best used to make use of there are some conditional statement that work best for some comparison. So in case you want to do this comparing of this is greater than this and then that is greater than this, it's best to make use of this else if. But if you want to make use of this switch, so you just have to pass in your particular value. If A is equal to 2, and then in the case where you have different cases, so the compiler is going to pick the particular condition which is true out of this. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, if I get you correctly, sir, that means this switch statement is not in all cases. Like when we want to compare numbers or want to compare values, we can use the else. Sorry, we can use the if else if. But if you are
And
having a direct comparison, like you want to know whether it is equal to a particular thing, then you can use the switch statement.
yes,
Is that correct, sir?
that's correct.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's just move forward from there. Okay, so this another example. So let me try to paste this. Okay. So we declare all these variable. So we say if x is 3, y is 4, z is 5. Then we have a is equal to 12, b is equal to 6, c is equal to 9. So let me clear this console. Okay. All right. So let's look at this instance. So we have several variables here, which is a, b, c, x, y, and z. So we have this case where we have s is equal to 3, y is 4, z is 5. Then a is 12, b is 6, and then c is equal to 9. So we are saying if x, I believe, did we talk about the logical comparison last week?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. So I would just make a reference to that. Okay, so we are saying if x is greater than y. Now let's look at x. The value of x is 3, and then the value of y is 4. So the question is x greater than, is 3 greater than 4? That's going to be false, right? Then we now say, or if a is greater than c, a is equal to 12, and then c is equals to 9. So a is equal to 12, that means 12 is greater than 9, which is true. So that means in this case of this first expression, we have the first condition is false or true. Okay, so this is the first expression that we have. If x is greater than y, which is false, and then if a is greater than c, 12 is greater than 9, which is true. Console.log x is greater than y, or a is greater than c. So what we are trying to say in short is, when we are talking about logical comparison, we have the case of or, which is looking for just a single truth value. So we can have false, true. So in as much we are using or, is going to give the value that, okay, this guy is true, because a logical compare, and all logical comparison checks out for the true value in a statement. In as much you can see one truth value, is going to execute the function. Okay, so I'm going to clarify more on that. So let's just check the other condition that we've written. Else, if x is less than y. Okay, so let's check this. X is 3. Is x less than 4? That's true. 3 is lesser than 4. Or A is greater than C. Okay, so this second condition, let me just, for the case of explanation, right? This is the first case. And then this is the second case, which is x is lesser than y. 3 is lesser than 4, which is true. So this first condition is true. Or A is greater than C. 12 is greater than 9. This as well is true. Okay. All right. So let me try to explain this again. Why the guy will keep executing this first condition. So in comparison operator, we have different comparison operators. So let me just try to comparison operators. So we have or. We have value of or, which checks out for the truth value, and then we have and, which is represented by this, and then we have or, which is represented by this. The both condition needs to be true. Okay, all right. So and then we have some other comparison operator as well. I think we have XOR, but for the case of this teaching, we'll be making use of this or, and I will try to expatiate more on this. And okay, so let's try to look at this. This first condition, this is the value here. We say the first condition is false, and then the second condition is true. But luckily for us, we are making use of or comparison operator, which is this guy. So this condition is only looking for a truth value. If you have plenty condition, as long as one of them is true, this guy is going to execute for us, because all that this operator is concerned about is, guys, I just need one truth. Out of all these conditions, just give me one truth. I will execute this expression for you. I really don't care if you have like 10 conditions. I just need one that is true. So that's what this operator is looking out for. So that's why we have the case where the fact that this guy is truth, so it executes this for us, that X is greater than or A is greater than C. So X is greater than Y. Okay. All right. Let me try to change this guy to, okay, before I change it, Binta, do you understand what's the condition here? Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Perfectly.
Okay, cool. All right. So let me change this guy to and let's see what happens. Unexpected identifier A. Okay, sorry. Okay. If X is greater than Y. So this guy is saying X is less than, okay. Now look at what we have here. So if X is greater than Y, and so like we said, for this operator and, both condition needs to be true in order for this condition to evaluate, to be executed. So let's look at the condition that we have here. So the fact that one of this guy is false, the compiler understand that I cannot execute this condition again because one of the condition is false, which is
All right, guys, please just give Emmanuel some time. I think he's experiencing some couple of issues. We'll join soon. Uh,
Hello, can anybody hear me? All right, cool. All right, so apologies for that. The laptop went off. Okay, so we're trying to talk about the AND operator. So we say else if x is less than y. So let's check at the value of x, which is 3. Is 3 lesser than y? That's true. Or if a is greater than c, 12 is greater than 9, which is true. So this condition is going to execute x is less than y, which we have here. Then let's try a situation where we want this last condition to evaluate. We can just change this. Okay, even if you change this guy to and, the two conditions are true. So it's still going to evaluate as true. Okay, that's correct. S is less than y because the two conditions are truth. Then in case where we have a scenario where the two conditions are not true, then it's going to pick this default value, which is the answer is not available. All right, so that's I don't know, did we like learn something or were we able to pick up something from this? Okay. Hi, Binta is with us. Who else do we have in this? Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So let's try to do this class activity together and let's see what we can learn out of this. So I will just pick this guy, try to edit it so we don't waste so much time writing code. Okay, so let's see this. We created a variable password. We assigned password to it. So we say if password.length is greater or equals to 12 and password does include hearts, console.log password is very strong. Else, if password.length is greater than 8 or password does include hearts and password.length is greater than or equals to 5, console.log password is strong. Else, we should console log this expression. Hi, Binta, are you with us?
Yes, sir. I'm just here.
Hi, Dave. Okay, Dave, you are still following. Hi, Gloria, you're following.
Yes.
Okay, all right, guys. So please just give me 1 minute. Look at this expression on this screen and let's try to like relate to it. Just give me 1 second. Let me turn on the inverter. Yeah. Okay, guys. So, all right, Pinta, do you want to walk us through this class activity?
Yes, I want to try.
All right.
Okay. First of all, we are having our const password to be password. So I was thinking, should we include like a random password to check
All right.
for the
So
conditions?
give me a random password.
Okay, BINTA, like
BINTA, Binta,
yes, FATIMA
FATI. Okay.
at 001.
At 001. Okay.
Yes. So the first condition, if the length, sorry, let me count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, is greater than 12. So the first condition, if password dot length, that means if the letters that are written, if it's greater than or equal to 12, which it is, that means the first condition is true. And if the password
Mm-hmm.
includes a at,
At,
if it's having at as part of it, which is also true, then we should console.log password is very strong. So that's why we're having password is very strong as the output. In the
all right.
case where there is no, probably there's no at, if password dot length, okay, I want to do the else if password dot length is greater than or equal to 8, or password includes at. Now, the first condition is already met. That's why we are not moving to the second condition. So, for instance, maybe I have the password to be
Okay, so
in,
how can you meet the second condition? Let's say we have, let
okay,
me remove facts. Let me remove this guy. Okay, let's see what
okay.
happens.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now the second condition, if password dot length is greater than or equal to 8, or password dot length is including. So since one of the condition, that's the one at the right, is met, and then the one at the left. So did you put at there? Let's
Yes,
remove
this.
the at.
Okay.
Yes, let's remove that. So if the password is not the one at the right, that's the condition at the right, is not met, because it is all, which means that we only need one condition to make it work. So the else if is going to run. The first one is not met, none of them is met.
Okay.
So yes, it's not going to run the first one. So automatically it will move to the second condition, which is the else if, and then to run password is strong. But
Okay.
the
So
thing
what?
is, we are having a, okay,
Go
I'm
ahead.
listening.
Go ahead.
Okay. The thing is, we may not really know the diff. Okay, the first one is password is very strong. Then the second one is console.log password is strong. So that's why we're having the password is strong. Then if at all none of the if or the else if is met, then we now have console.log password is weak.
Awesome. So how can we execute password is weak? So
Let me just say you write bin.
B only. So let me remove this guy. Let's see what we have.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
password
please
is weak.
hold on. Yes, password is weak. So that's it.
All right. All right. Perfect. Perfect. I think you did a thorough explanation to this. Thank you. Okay, so let me see if we have another class activity. Oh, okay, there's no other class activity. Hmm. All right. Okay. I believe the other guys as well, you're able to catch up based on what we've talked so far, the conditional statements. We've talked about the if, the else if, and then the switch. All right. And then we're able to do some class activity as well, where at least we're able to brainstorm together. Okay, so moving on. So let's see what we can talk about in arrays. Okay, so arrays is like a very, very important data structure in JavaScript. And you get to make use of array on a day-to-day basis as a front-end engineer. You deal with you have to deal with a lot of array manipulation. If you are someone that's okay, you want to take a bold step further to learn more about data structure algorithm, there's something we call array manipulation, where you have to understand, have a thorough in-depth how to manipulate array. And I strongly believe that the fundamental of, I mean, by the time, in order for you to do like a strong activity on array, you need to understand the basics. So we just be running through the basics in this class. Let's hope in the next 1 hour we can do justice to array and have a solid understanding of arrays. All right. So arrays are used to store multiple values. We can use it to store string, we can use it to store number, we can use it even store array objects boolean in a single variable. It can hold more than one value at a time. Rather than storing your values in different variables, like we have several variables here, A, B, C, D, we can just make use of an array to store a single, several datas. So I'm going to comment out this guy. So let's look at this. Let me change this guy to okay, cool. So we define a variable called color, and then we put this opening brackets, closing brackets, and then we pass several strings inside it. This is an example of what we refer to as an array. Or you can define your array in this format. So let's console log out this color and let's see the value that we have. Let's say console.log, right? And let's put colors. Let's see what we have. Okay, so it's telling us that it's an array, yellow, red, and blue. So we can as well like initiate our array like this, new array. So let me console this guy and let's see what we have. Okay. All right. So this guy is telling us that if you recall, when we console log out this first one, it gave us the same outputs and as well this guy as well. So you can use new array and then this opening the circle brackets or the square brackets in order for you to initialize an array. Okay, so let's move on forward from here. Okay, so arrays, if we want to just get one, okay, so if we want to get a particular value, let's say we want to get yellow, red, or blue. So we can do something like this. So in array, in JavaScript, the numbering starts from 0. So we start counting from 0. We can do 0. So it's 0, 1, and then 2. So let me do colors of 1. We should have yellow, red. We should have red as a value. Okay, so red. So that's telling us that yellow is the colors of 0. We should have yellow. All right, perfect. So we are building our knowledge on array basics. In case we are looking for position 1 in our array, we can replace the item in position 1. Okay, this array manipulation. So another thing is, let's say we want to get console.log, want to get the length of our arrays, we can do colors.length. It should give us 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 items are inside this particular array, right? So that's then this guy is telling us that in case we want to replace a particular value, we can say colors, right? And then pass 1 and then assign a value to it. So let's say we want to change yellow to green. So let me say colors. So we should have okay, yellow, green, and blue. Why did we have green on value 1? Because we say we want to replace the item in position 1 with green. So red is gone. That's why we have the green. All right. So moving forward, right? Let's talk about, we have array method. So we have different array method in JavaScript. So we'll be talking about the push. So we use push to add an item to the last element in an array. Then we talk about pop as well. We use pop to remove the last item of an array. So let's try that out. So let me say console the log colors dot push. Let's say we want to push orange. Okay, so I need to define it first. Okay, so we have 0, which is yellow, 1, which is green, blue, and then we have orange. So let me do pop colors dot pop. Then let me console dot log colors again. Okay, so we say that pop can be used to remove an item, like from the word pop, like pop. So we remove pop removes the last item, which is orange that we added. So we've established we are now talking about the different array method that we have in JavaScript. We talk about push, we've talked about pop. Then there's another one, the shift and unshift. Okay. Yes. So when we talk about shift method removes the first array element. We use shift to remove the first array element in an array. So let's try it. Let's say colors dot shift. Yeah. Then let's log console.log colors, right? Let's see what we have. So it's going to remove that value of yellow. It's going to remove yellow for us. So okay, so it's going to remove yellow for us. So what we now have is green and blue. So let's try the word colors dot unshift. So let's pass a value that we want to unshift. Let's say purple. Then let's log our colors again. Console does log. Then let's log our colors. Okay, so we have purple, green, and then blue. So we are talking about the different array method that we have. We've talked about push, pop, shift, and then unshift. So let's look at the next okay, another array method is join, index of, and then concat. So let's try each of these and let's see what we have. Colors dot join, and then let's console dot log colors. Let's see what we have. Sorry about this. Okay. Okay, we need to pass let's say we want hyphen between each of them. Okay. Okay, I guess I have to look up this string. But let's do index of colors dot index of I think let's pass maybe value of green. Let's index equals to this. Then let me console dot log index. Okay, so index of is telling us that we want to find the particular position of green, and we can see that from purple, which is 0, and then green is 1. So we have this. Guys, please follow along because we'll be doing some class activity and we need everybody's attention. So the next method that we want to look at is concat. So we can do colors dot concat. So let's console dot log. Okay, let me assign it to a variable. Let's index. So let me index has already been defined. Okay, so concatenated data. Okay, so I'm not sure this guy is speaking. So we need to pass colors again. Okay. All right, guys. So we can see here. So we are trying to concatenate these values, and here it is. So concat is another method in array. So let's move on from here. Okay. We have two other method we'll be talking about, which is include and then splice. So let's try include definitely is going to return an array for us. So let's look at this. Let's say dot includes data is equals to colors dot includes Do we have blue? Yes, we have blue. So let's log console. Let's log the value of, let's log this guy. So it should return a true for us. True. Because there is blue in this. So let's say we want black. It should return a false because the array does not have a black color. False. Okay. So moving on, let's try this splice. So let me pick this guy. So we have different fruits: banana, orange, apple, and mango. So we now say we want to splice. So we have the splice method in array. So it takes in these two represent that we want to start at position 2. So 0, 1, 2 is going to start after 0, 1. Okay, banana, orange, 2. Okay, it's going to start at position 2, which is after banana, orange, and then we have lemon. So we are saying that splice, like, divide this thing at position 2 and then add lemon and kiwi into the list of array. Do not remove anything, which is 0. So let me put 1 here. It's going to delete one value for us, which is apple. Okay, let me repeat that again. So, we have this fruit dot splice. This position, this is telling us about position. Start from position 2 and then delete one value. Delete the item at, delete one item, which by the time we say 0, 1, apple is position 2. Then we are telling it that delete one item is going to delete apple for us and then replace it with lemon and kiwi. So if we remove, let's say we put it back to 0, we should have banana, orange, lemon, kiwi, apple, and then mango. All right. So let's move on. Okay. So that's a basic introduction about that's basic introduction of array. We'll be using array in our next topic, which is loops. All right. Any question before we move on? Any question?
So I have a question.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Can we move to the first? Okay. If we want to start the remove if we want to start removing, for instance, you have we're starting on position 2, then we include, maybe let me say 2, like you have 2 2. So what is going to delete?
If you have
You're
two,
going to
then
delete mango.
okay, we have 2 2. That means it's going to
Mhm.
start at position 2 and then it's going to remove these two items, apple and mango. So let's try this.
Okay.
So it's going to delete the
Okay.
first item and then the second item.
And then include
And then now,
lemon and kiwi.
exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Any,
that's all.
okay. Okay. Mm, all right. So in case there's no other question, we just move into loops and then we'll be making use of we'll be talking more about array in our loops. Okay. So I'll move forward from here. Any other question before I move forward? Let me just give 5 seconds. All right, in case of none, so let's move on to loops. So guys, so far in this class, we've been able to talk about array. We've been able to talk about the conditional statements as well. The if conditional statement and then the switch conditional statement. And then we made a little mention of the comparison operator as well. So it's good that we're talking about it. By the time when you get home, you can still like read more in order to get more details. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about loops. And so definitely loops offer a quick and easy way to do something repeatedly. So from the word loops, that means we are looping through an item of things. There are many different kind of loops, but they all essentially do the same thing: to loop through a data. The various loop mechanisms offer different ways to determine the start and then the end point of the loop. So there are various situations. So we types of loops. We have the for loop. So loops, this loop through a block of code a number of times. I don't know, maybe for time's sake, I will just talk about one or two so that we can talk about function. Because function is still at slide 43. And we are still on slide 17. Okay. All right, so we are talking about loops. So we have for loops, for in loops, for of loop, while loop, and then the do while loop. Okay, so loops through the property, the for in loop loops through the property of an object. The for of loop loops through the value of an iterable object. So if you are writing data structure algorithm, you make use of loops like a whole lot. Let me say maybe in like 7 of 10 case scenario, if you are writing data structure algorithm. So loops is like very, very essential understanding in JavaScript fundamentals. Okay, so when we talk about loops, so let me just pick this item. So we have the loop initialization, we have the condition, and then we have the increment expression. So let's try this. Okay. So let's say loop. Okay. So let me get this array. Left fruits. So we can say it. So we say that when we are dealing with loop, let's try to understand the building block. We have three most important things: initialization, the condition, and then the increment expression. So let me say here, we say let I be equals to 0. And then the condition here is fruits. Spelling correct. Fruits dot length. Yeah. Then we can increment this guy. Then in our block of code, we can say, let's try to console dot log. And then you can say this is I'll say fruits. This is correct. Fruits dot length. Okay. Okay, wait. Should be. fruit. Okay, I think something is wrong. All right, so I think I should pick this. Let's try to. So we've been able to talk about that. When you are let's see. This guy has crashed. Okay, so while that is loading, so the loop initialization, where we initialize our counter to a starting value. So we can do something like I is equal to 0. Then this test statement, the condition, we can do something like we can give any particular condition. We've been talking about condition at the beginning of this class, and then the iteration statements, which will be something like incremental process. So let's look at an example. A minute, please. Okay. All right. So this is an example of loop. So we define our variable here. Let I be equals to 0. Then I is less than 9. Then we say increment this guy step by step. Yeah. So then we try to log out in loop. It's going to start from 0, 1, then to 8, because we say less than 8. So if you do something like I is equals to 9, then it's going to add 9 to the list of item to be looped. Less than. Hope this guy won't crash over. Okay, so we can say if I is less than 9, I is less or equals to 9, then it's going to look through the value of I from 0 to 9 for us. Okay, so I need to close this tab. Sorry about that. So any single mistake, the guy picks it, and then it could result to crashing of the compiler. So that's the case where we are having. Okay, in order for that not to happen, I will just ensure. Okay, so let's look at this guy. A case of what we are trying to get the other time before the guy crashed. Okay, guys. So we have an array of names. Naruto, this guy, this guy, this guy. So we did our initialization, which is I is equals to 0. So anytime I want to loop, so guys, let's try to understand the basics of this. Like I said, this like crucial in JavaScript fundamental in your day-to-day activity as an engineer as well. So I is equal to 0 if I is less than the length of this guy, so which is 3, and then we now, okay, there's a question. Yeah, go ahead, please.
So I saw a question. Okay,
Yeah.
your screen just came up now.
Oh, at what point have you guys lost me?
No, it's just few seconds from like few seconds. It's not
Okay.
much.
All right. Thanks for that. So what I'm trying to let me try to recap what I've been saying. So we've been talking about loop, loop, and then what we are considering here is for loop, right? And then we said that anytime when you are doing looping, there are three things: initialization, initialization, then condition, and then increment, incremental expression. Okay, so these are the three things that is important in this for loop process or any loop or in any loop. So in this initialization, let I be equals to 0. You can use any value. It could be A, it could be B, it could be C. But if you are using A here, that means we say A and then change this guy to A as well, right? But we are using I. So we say this is initialization. Then we say A less than this names dot length, and then we increment it, and then we console.log, and then pass the particular value A. Try to pick each of the value from these names. So for instance, let me console.log the value of this is the value of hey. Okay, so if you look at this, it's saying that this value of A, which is 0, 1, 2. Now we now say the what is the particular value of 0 in names? We know that inside names, the position 0 is Naruto. It's console these are for us. The position 1 is this guy, and then position 2 is this guy. So that's why we have these different value. So in short, what we just did is looping through the list of names, and then we list them out one by one. Let me move on. I think we have more class activity. Hmm. Okay, let's talk about while loop as well before we move to class activity. So for the other types of loop, I think we can just read up on them personally. If we can talk about function, because for today's class we are meant to talk about DOM manipulation, but with a lot of things, I'm not sure we'll be able to talk about it. So let's look at while loop. A while statement executes a statement as long as it's specified. So as long as specified condition evaluates to true. So let me pick this guy. So in most cases, personally, it's the for loop that I make use of. So let's see what we have here. This is the while loop. So basically, it's just the same. Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, sir, please the names dot length. What's it all about? Because I'm trying to figure out what the names dot length is.
Okay. So let me hit that again. Okay. So what we are trying to do here is it's this names dot length is the condition. So we are seeing that start from initialization A, start from 0. Start counting from 0, 1, 2, 3. Now we are now saying that as long as the value of A is less than names dot length. Now, one of the array method that we talk about is dot length. It's going to give us the length of this guy. look at this. If I say console.log names.length, this guy is going to give us 0, 1, 2, 3. It's going to give us 3, which is this. So I now say that A needs to be less than 3. And then keep incrementing. You know that this guy start from initialization, start from 0. Then we say start from 0, 1, 2, 3. Do you get? So this guy keeps incrementing. Let me give the previous description that we talked about. Okay, look at this. It's the same thing we are trying to achieve, the looping process. We start from 0, which is initialization. Then the next thing is we pass a condition, and then we increment it, right? Now, look at the process. We say that then we try to log each of the value. So this guy is going to start from 0. 0, then it's reached this expression, I is equal to 0. Is 0 less than 9? It's true, right? Then it's going to increment it. So by the time when it gets here, the current value of 0 is, the current value of I is 0. Then it's going to move to the next step. It has already incremented it. There's this, so it's going to increment it. So the next thing is going to be 1, right? So by the time we have, it's going to increment it 1. Then the next thing is going to start the process all over again. That's why we refer to it as loop. It's looping through a particular condition. And then the condition that it's looping through is this guy. As long as this guy is true, it will keep looping. It will keep looping. Now, let me explain further. By the time when it say I is less than, I starts from 0, right? So it's going to say I 0 less than 9 is true. It's going to evaluate this expression. It's still like, we talk about this if else statements. If condition is true, it's going to execute the condition for us. Yeah. So that's what we are still trying to do here. So 0 is 0 less than 9. It's going to execute this condition for us. All we just need is just give us the value of I. That's what we are doing. So that's why we have in loop 0. Then this guy increments plus plus. So we are seeing that once he reaches plus plus, excuse me, the next value of I is going to be 1. So is 1 less than 9 true?
Yeah, I get it now, sir.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So until when I is now, this guy will keep reading. So by the time when this I is now less than, let's say I, it has reached 8, in loop is 8. So by the time when this guy is now 9, this guy is going to stop here because 9 is not less than 9, right? So it's just going to stop here. So that's the explanation for this first one. So it's the same principle that applies to this one that applies to this second one as well. We have an array of names. Now, we now say that start the initialization from 0 and then keep looping until this condition is true, which is names.length. Now, names.length here is 3. 0, 1, 1 to 3 is 3 items that we have inside it. So by the time we start the first process, which is 0, A is 0. That's why we have this is the value of A, which is 0. We are now saying that what is the position of 0 in names? In an array, we are saying that 0, 1, 2. So the position of 0 in these names is 1. So this guy is going to pick Naruto for us as the value in 0. And then by the time when this guy increments, the next value is what? Is 1. So what's the value of 1 in this guy? We have this Sasuk, and then what's this pronunciation of this? Shakura, or whatever you want to pronounce it. Yeah. So that's what loop is just doing for us. Basically, we are trying to, let's say we have like 1,000 items here, and then we say that this guy will keep looping through the list of names for us until when this condition is now false. At what point will this condition be false? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once this guy is greater than 5, that means, once this condition is 5, that means the condition is false. It's going to stop at that point. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, sir.
All right.
But let's
Okay.
assume that your A is initialized to be, let me say 2.
Okay.
Can we do that? Can we
Yes.
just put 2?
So before we do that, let me clear my cons. I hope this guy did not crash before then. Okay. So let's see what we have. Okay. So it's telling us this is the first console that we made. Let me clean this guy. Okay. So this guy told us that the length of A is 5. And then this is the value. Now start from 2 because our initialization is 2. So now say that it started from 2. And then what's the value of 2? This 0, 1, 2. Right? It now told us that the value of position 2 in these names is what? Is this guy. Then it keeps reading 3, 4. Then by the time when this guy A is now 5, it's understand that names of length is meant to be 5. And this condition will keep being true as 4 because A is less than, 5 cannot be lesser than 5. Do you get? 4 is only lesser than 5. So, and what is the value of 4 in this guy? This 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why it's evaluates John. I don't know. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Not from my end.
All right. Cool. Let me see. Okay, this is do while loop. This is break. I want to get class activity. Okay. There's really no class activity. Yeah. All right, so let's just talk about, so guys, we can read up about the other types of loops that we have. So let me just pick this as the last item for the week. So there's something we call break and continue in loop. So the break statement is used to terminate a loop, a switch, or in conjunction with a label statement. When you use break without a label, it terminates the innermost enclosing. Why a do while loop? Okay, so let's just check the practical implication of the break that we're talking about. So let's look at this line of code. Okay. Now let's look at this. We say that if I is equals to 3, so this break is a reserved word in JavaScript. And what it does is that it's going to create a pause. It's going to stop the compiler. So once the compiler reads the reserve word break, it's going to stop the process. So for instance, let's say it's saying that I is equal to 0. That's the initialization. I is less than 5. So it will keep reading 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it's going to stop at 4 because 5 is not less than 5. Then so at this point, we now pass an expression saying that if I is equals to 3, break. So this guy started from 1, 2, 3. Now I is equal to 3. So the compiler understands that you've broken the process. Then it stopped at 2. Let me change this guy to 4. It's going to read 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's the word break in compiler. So we sometimes use it by the time when a condition is true. You don't want it to continue the process again. That's okay. Maybe we have this guy to be 10,000 or 1,000. So this guy will keep reading, keep iterating 0, 1, 2, 3. But by the time when you now say I is equal to, maybe you want it to be 10. Once a condition, this guy could be anything. We've established this fact that is condition that will pass here. So once this guy is truth, we are just saying there's no need of our compiler keep running. Let's just break the process at this particular condition. So it's going to stop at condition 9. There's another okay. So let's try this activity as well. Okay. There's this operator called modulus. So this is what we are trying to do. We only have 4 minutes to the close of this class. So let's just try this and then we call it a wrap for today. Okay. Now what we are trying to say is I is less than 5. We started from 5. That's why this guy started from 5. If I is less than 50, so this guy will stop at 49, right? It will keep incrementing until you reach 49. Now we put a condition, like this condition I will put here, that if I modulus 3, so modulus simply means the remainder. So we are saying that if I, let's say at this point, I modulus 3. So let's say 15 divided by 3 is going to be what? It's going to be 5 remainder 0. 10 divided by 3 will be 3 remainder 0. So we are now saying that at the point where I modulus 3 is equals to 0 and I modulus 5 is equals to 0, break the process at that point. So the only value that can be true here is what? Is going to be 15. I don't know if you understand that.
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Let me see if we have another activity. So next one here is continue. I don't want to talk about continue. All right, guys. I think at this point I will just call it a wrap. I will call it a close. So I really wish there's more time, but we really don't have more time. So you can do more reading at home. So yeah, it's been an interesting class so far. Thank you very much for being
Thank
part.
you, sir. Sir, please, are we going to have access to the slide?
Yeah, I will try to get it across.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, everyone, for making today. And as usual, Emmanuel, I mean, we would have the recording for today also available. I'll share it in the group. If not tonight, definitely you get it in the morning. Thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you, Elvis, for being there for us and teaching us. Thank you, guys, and mentoring us as well. So God bless you. Let's have a lovely, lovely week ahead. See you guys. Bye bye.